Hello friends. So today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics in physics, and that is gravitation. See, things that happen around us have a reason behind them, and physics is all about nature. It is all about observing the events and revealing the laws of nature. So here I'm going to share some of the basic phenomena that occur because of gravitation, and for this I'm going to share the content based on gravitation with you. So we all have heard about the story of falling apple and Newton's laws. So apple falls due to gravity. Okay, apple falls due to gravity. So look at the picture. It is showing various phenomena that we observe around us. Okay, so you can see tides here, tides in the ocean. So tides in the ocean are caused by the combined effects of gravitational force of sun and moon and rotation of earth about its axis. Okay, and you can see some spherical objects here. These are planets. So planets are spherical in shape due to gravity. Okay, existence of our solar system is because of gravity, and you can see the projectile here. So trajectory of the projectile is because of gravity. And don't go far, our own body weight is because of gravity. Okay, fine. In class 10th, we have read about tropism, tropic and nastic movement in the chapter control and coordination in biology. Fine. So there we studied about geotropism. So geotropism is the growth of the parts of the plant in response to the gravity. Okay, so upward part of the plant, shoot of the plant, it grows in upward direction, which is against gravity. So it is called negative geotropism, while the roots of the plant, they grow in the downward direction towards gravity. So this is called positive geotropism. Okay, so these are the things that we observe around us. Okay, so do you know that astronauts in space, they face problems like bone and muscle loss, lengthening of the spine, and back pain because there is no gravity there. And you will be surprised to know that gravity compresses our spine. So as we get older, we can get smaller. Okay, so these are the effects of gravity. So now I would like to throw light on the history of the theory of gravitation. The great physicist and astronomer Galileo. Let's start with him. So he said that bodies fall at a rate independent of their masses. He demonstrated that acceleration of a celestial body is independent of the mass of the falling body. Let's take an example here. Suppose we have a feather and a steel ball. You can see in the picture. It is quite obvious that steel ball is heavier than feather. Okay, and they both are released from a certain height. Okay, from a certain height on the surface of a planet. Okay, and if we neglect frictional forces, if we neglect air resistance and all kinds of frictional forces, then it is quite obvious then both will reach the ground at the same time because the gravitational effect exerted on both the objects is same. Okay, so next came Newton, and Newton concluded that force exerted by gravitation is proportional to the mass of the object on which it acts. That is, force acting on a falling body is proportional to its mass. F is equal to mg. This we have studied in class 9th in the chapter Newton's laws of motion, force and laws of motion. Okay, F is equal to mg. You have studied in Newton's second law of motion. And we have read about Newton's law of gravitation, which is also called as universal law of gravitation in the chapter gravitation in class 9th only. Okay, so after Newton, Kepler came, and he said that planets move on ellipses, not circles. Okay, and sun lies at one of the foci of the ellipse. This is the first law of Kepler. Second law said, in the second law he said that areal velocity of the planet is constant. That is, dA by dt is constant. Planets sweep out equal area in equal time. In the third law, he said that square of time period is directly proportional to the cube of semi-major axis. T square is directly proportional to r cube. Okay, so these are the three laws of Kepler. So we have studied about universal law of gravitation. We are talking about Kepler's laws. We talk about gravitational force and effects of gravity. Okay, we say that anything that has mass has gravity. Heavier objects have more gravity as compared to lighter objects. So we know that gravity exists. Okay, but have you ever thought that why gravity exists? What is the reason behind it? What is the cause of this gravitation? Where does this gravity come from? So today I want to take you to the different way of finding the reason of gravitation. And for this, first of all, we need to understand space-time frame. Okay, so here you can see reference frame is written. So we all know what a reference frame is. A point or an object with respect to which a given object changes its position is called reference frame. So to locate the position of an event, to locate the position of an object, to locate the position of a particle or anything, we need a reference frame. Okay, here we have three axes, x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. These are the position coordinates which specify the position of the event. Okay, it comes under Euclidean geometry that we have studied in class 9th mathematics. Fine. Now we are talking about space-time frame. Space-time frame includes time also. Okay, so it is a four-dimensional geometry. It comes under non-Euclidean geometry, which is also termed as pseudo-Euclidean geometry. Okay, so in space-time frame, an event is described by the place where it occurred and the time when it occurred. Okay, so thus an event occurring in certain material particle can be described by three position coordinates and the time coordinate when the event is occurring. I hope this is clear. So now we can differentiate between these two frames. Okay, in reference frame, an event is described by the position coordinates, while in space-time frame, an event is described by the position coordinate as well as time coordinate. So this is all about reference frame. So now we will discuss about Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity. Albert Einstein considered universe as a fabric of space-time. He considered universe as a plain fabric of space-time. Okay, you can see here in the picture. But we know that in our universe, there are so many astronomical objects, heavenly bodies, which are placed there. And for example, our sun, planets, stars, asteroids. So these all are placed in this fabric of space-time. Okay, let's take an example of our sun. As we know that sun is quite heavy and it is also placed in the fabric of space-time. So we can see warping around the sun in the space-time fabric. We can see curvature around the sun in the space-time fabric, and because of this curvature, because of this warping, lighter, smaller heavenly objects, planets, revolve around the sun. So this is the reason why planets revolve around the sun. Okay, because of the curvature of around the sun, because of the warping in the space-time fabric around the sun, planets revolve around it. Okay, so here comes the principle of causality. And principle of causality says that if there is an effect due to some cause, here we can say that cause is the sun, the heavy mass which is placed in the space-time fabric, and effect is the revolution of the planets which are revolving around it. Okay, so principle of causality says that if there is an effect due to some cause, then necessarily the effect will be followed by the cause. And if there exists effect caused by something else, then effect has to be greater than the cause. Effect must always follow the cause. Okay, so this is what is happening in our universe. So Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity explains that what we perceive as a force of gravity in fact arises from the curvature of space-time fabric. Okay, so he proposed that objects such as sun and the earth change this geometry. So although earth appears to be pulled towards the sun by gravity, there is no such force. It is simply the geometry of space-time around the sun telling the earth how to move. Okay, so as we know that sun is the most noticeable, and sun is the most massive object in our solar system, and its curvature of space-time would be most noticeable example in the local universe. Okay, but one question arises here, that if the lighter objects are revolving around the sun and around the curvature, then their radii should decrease. Okay, their radii should decrease with time, and they would ultimately reach at the center of curvature. But we know that our solar system is around 5 billion years old, and distance of the planets from the sun is not noticeably changing. Planets keep on revolving around the sun. Then what is the reason behind it? So actually, there is some repulsive force. There has to be some repulsive force which exists and which balances the planets, and they keep on revolving around the sun, right? So actually, stellar objects, luminous objects, they radiate energy. They emit radiation. Okay, they have their own light and they emit light. Okay, so stellar objects exert radiation pressure on non-stellar luminous non-luminous objects. Non-stellar non-luminous objects are those which do not emit light, okay, which do not have their own light. For example, are planets. So planets are non-stellar objects, while stars and sun, they are stellar objects. So stellar objects exert radiation pressure, okay, on non-stellar, non-luminous objects, and which is responsible for the stability of non-stellar objects around the stellar objects. So this might be the reason. Next we have, you look at the picture here, there is trembling in the space-time fabric. So space-time fabric can also tremble. Okay, see, it trembles like a pond. When we throw a pebble in the pond, we see ripples. Ripples are formed in the pond. Okay, disturbance is created. Oh, fine. So space-time frame can tremble like the surface of the pond, and it seems to be full of mysterious form of energy that is pushing it apart. Okay, next I want to add here that because of the curvature in the space-time fabric, because of the warping in the space-time fabric, light bends. There is bending of light. Okay, light follows the curvature of space-time. Hence, when light passes through or passes around a massive object, it is bent. Fine. And one more thing I want to add here, that it is, if the space-time fabric is so warped, then it is possible to go back in time. It becomes possible to travel backward in time. You have read time dilation in special theory of relativity, right? So we can go back in time as well. At last, let's compare Newtonian theory of gravity and general theory of relativity. So Newton said that sun creates a gravitational field that exerts a force upon the earth. Okay, and because of this gravitational force, earth orbits around the sun rather than moving in a straight line. Okay, here we talk about Newton's third law, action and reaction forces. We know that action and reaction force, they are equal and opposite. Okay, and if we consider the sun and the earth system, then both exert equal and opposite force on each other. But as we know that sun is massive, sun is heavier as compared to earth. Okay, so it will have less acceleration, while because earth is lighter, so it will have more acceleration. Lighter objects have more acceleration and heavier objects have less acceleration, and this is the reason earth revolves around the sun. Okay, and in general theory of relativity, it says that sun, because it is quite massive, it changes the geometry of space-time fabric. Okay, we can see the curvature around the sun in the space-time fabric. We can see the warping around the sun in the space-time fabric. Okay, and earth is in free motion. Earth is not bounded. It can go anywhere. It is free to go anywhere. Okay, and no force is acting on the earth, and it can travel on a geodesic of space-time. But because space-time is curved around the sun, and this is the reason earth orbits the sun. So I hope that things are clear. That's all for today. Have a nice day.